Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Brian if you're new around here, but if you're a returning subscriber, welcome back. You magnificent legend. That's what you get for subscribing, by the way. Free compliments and some explicitives whenever you check out these videos. Now, if you guys haven't seen the news, this is what we're going to be going over. It's actually the next PTR update, and there's some really exciting items in this. So this is going to be pushed out onto the PTR, and as usual, that gets tested. We get a good look at what is coming into the game, get a kind of give our feedback and so much more. But I want to give you guys the breakdown because I did go and check out the public test realms on the forums. If we had even more details, those are and will be coming here to the channel as soon as they go up. But I want to highlight for you guys today what you can start to expect. And I have a couple questions, right? And we're going to explore that here in this video. Some of the questions and some of the things that, you know, am I reading this right? Am I understanding this right? So you guys can feel free to weigh in with your theories or correct me if I misspeak on anything. So if you guys are also wanting to know, be sure to go check the comments themselves in case of either of those things ultimately happen. Now, the first part of this means basically that the PTR is going to open up October 27th at 10 a.m. Pacific time. So that's noon for us Central Time folks. We'll probably see the updates and the notes rolling out on the PTR. Then I'll try to cover them here for you as soon as they go live, because usually that's where you get some really interesting changes that aren't going to be listed in this video. But what are the major updates? Well, we saw Scott tease this a little bit when he talked about a mashup of Starstone and Amrine. And that's what this is. They're going to have a new mutated expedition. So it doesn't seem like they're mutating Amrine or Starstone. It looks like they're mutating both of them in this mashup, which kind of makes sense because, as people pointed out in the comments of the last video, they are connected and they're not that actually far off. So it's this maybe this big under networking set of ancient stuff. And forgive me if I completely whiffed on the lore there. I'm still learning and on my way. So to take part in the new Starstone Barrows includes a special appearance. Players will revisit parts of Amarine's expedition and face off in the both in Intrepid Simon Gray and Foreman Nakashima. Challenge the expedition to find out more. They're also bringing in crafting and refining station tier changes. So I've got this highlighted as a couple of key points that I think you guys are going to take away. Now, I'm not a crafting expert. I dabble, but I'm definitely not somebody who might be shaking with excitement or frustrated by these changes. So you can kind of let me know where you fall if you're a crafting expert. But the Forge, Outfitting Station, Workshop, and the Arcane Repository will now offer Azoth discounts for relevant recipes. So they say tier 3, you're going to get a 20%, tier 4 30%, and a tier 5 a 45% discount. Now, for certain recipes, they're no longer going to be gated behind tiers. So for the crafting stations, most procedural weapons and armor recipes will not be gated. Arcane repositories, stat potions like health, mana, regeneration, and focus, as well as elemental recipes will not be gated. And what this means is that as you see the crafting station level up, certain recipes would be available. Like it requires crafting station of tier X. Seems like they're going to be removing some of those recipes from that tier requirement, and that's what we're talking about here. And then for the kitchen, health, and mana foods. Seems to make sense. Feels like that way you're not necessarily getting punished as hard, especially if you're trying to do some of the more basic stuff. Obviously, for more and difficult things, you're going to want, obviously, to take advantage of it. Now, for the refining stations, tier 3 unlocks, they're going to say less than or equal to 100 and not legendary. Will not require will not be gated. Tier 4 unlocks for the recipes that are 150 and not legendary, and tier 5 unlocks for recipe level is 200 or legendary at any recipe level. Now for stone cutting, all gem cutting is no longer going to be gated, but gem fusion remains gated behind relevant tiers. Here is where I get excited. Joining companies unfactioned. Thank you, HES, for this. I'm sure there's going to be someone who's disappointed. Now, if they would only also give us an increase to the number of people we can have in a company, namely because of some other changes we're about to talk about, but players no longer need to be in a faction to join a company. So if you guys have been wanting to hold on to Covenant, been wanting to hold on to the Marauders, or hell, not be factioned at all, unfactioned, unaffiliated, you can now join the company, which is great. So yeah, welcome in everybody. Check the link in the description. Also, I'll be playing on The Bald and the Beautiful for the New World event kicking off November 2nd. Go check out the Twitch. The link for Work to Game is below. Go check us out. Hit that follow button and get some free loot. I've seen a couple people, as a kind of a note, disappointed they don't like the Twitch drops. Like, the thing is because they say, like, I don't want to watch other people play. Don't. Just give that lurk and go about your day. You don't have to actually be watching. There's nobody monitoring you to make sure that your eyes are actually on the screen. You can always just drop the lurk and bounce. We appreciate lurkers. In fact, if you guys are able to lurk on the Twitch stream, that means the world to us. It's actually going to be something that I hopefully will continue to ask you guys to do. And thank you guys so much for when you do. By the way, hit that smash like button if you get the opportunity. Anyway, so I'm thrilled by this. Companies still have to declare faction, and non-faction affiliated members cannot become the governor or participate in wars. Love to know your thoughts about that. I'm wondering if we're going to see the evolution of companies here some point in the future. I'm liking this change personally. I'm very excited for this change. Rolling PTR updates, especially because they've also made some changes to how you can actually do companies now, being that you can still maintain your progress in your current faction, and go and do the quest line for the other faction, and even go rank up in the other faction. So this is going to be a really nice change for those of you completionists out there who want to experience all that another faction has to offer, and that's the quests and so much more. So anyway, good news. Hopefully you guys are excited about that, as clearly I am. Now, the rolling PTR updates, like we said, we're going to keep you up to date on the forum, but here's some more things that are coming. Now, for the group finder activity, active lobby counts, players can now actually see the number of active lobbies for each expedition, both on the map tooltip and in the expedition entrance screen. I think that's going to help people kind of get affiliated with that tool. Still need more work, and they said that more work is still being done on it. So personally speaking, I think it's a great starting point overall. All right. Shell company mitigation time. They're going to be implementing the following changes to make shell companies less effective at owning multiple territories. Daily war limit. We knew this was coming. Players will have a limit of 1 defensive war and 1 attacking war per world. It's going to reset daily at 5 a.m. server time. These limits will apply to both even if you have 2 different characters on the same world. So instead of it, like the rumor or the fear was that it was going to be account based, now it looks like it is server based. So ultimately that's going to get you up to 4 wars, 2 defending, 2 attacking. But here's the thing, and I'm going to say this, is that this restriction is necessary from especially all those, and when we look at the problem, but not having a practice war feature, I think that's going to just elevate the need for that, because war is this pinnacle activity within New World, and a lot of people don't get to participate in it. And now it's going to be interesting to see is that if you kind of take away that from the people who are just like, I just like to go in war in this game, it would be really nice to be able to say, well, you still can, but in terms of kind of the be all end all, maybe that's where the limitation applies. Either way, we're not done yet with this evolution, so just kind of keep in mind these are going to be changes that we're going to continue to see rolled out, just like with the territory changes that we're already seeing, and then more changes are on the way in the future. For war roster restrictions, participating companies will have a limited number of mercenaries that they can recruit. So outside of your company, who can recruit? Attacking can recruit up to 40 mercenaries. So war is 50v50, means you got to have at least 10 people from your company willing to war, and then you can take up to 40 other mercenaries. The defending companies can only take up to 15 mercenaries, meaning they're going to have to field from their company the vast majority of people on the defense. Remaining slots are reserved for the company members. Makes sense. Company switching cooldowns. When you leave a company, players are going to start a 72-hour cooldown on fighting a defensive war and earning influence for any company towards war declaration eligibility. The cooldown begins once a player leaves. Any influence earned will still count towards the player's faction. Leaderboards, guys, it's here, or at least the first phase of it is. This is something that kind of missed out on. I mean, the fall update, this is PTR, so I guess if this ends up coming in December, technically, I guess it would be the fall, depending on what day that is. Leaderboards will reward players, companies, and factions across the following categories: mutated expeditions, faction war, versus the environment, versus players, and trade skills. Every category contains subcategories. For example, faction war includes territory control, score. It would help if I learned how to read, but we'll get there one day. Finish in the top 10 of any leaderboard at the end of the weekly, the monthly, or the quarterly rotations for exclusive skins, achievements, and titles. Rewards cannot obviously be earned on the PTR. Yay! This is really interesting to see. I can't wait to see how it's implemented, how it visually shows up, and more. Now, it goes into the PTR client access, who can access it, etc. It should show up in your Steam library. If you guys are having any trouble with that, DM me over on Discord, hit me up in the New World chat, and we can see if we can help you out and get you going. But guys, that's the news. I don't know what I'm more excited about. Personally speaking, I'm generally content excited about leaderboards because I have a competitive spirit. I'm not gonna lie. It gets kind of, you know, I always have to put it in check because it's like, it's about the fun, Brian. It's about the fun. But my wife tells me I'm competitive. And then also the fact of joining companies on Faction. This is huge. I think this is going to be more impactful for us, being that we like to hang out and play. And speaking of which, if you want to ever join us, we stream Fridays on Twitch. Links in the description. Usually it's around 4:35 Central Time. But all are welcome. You can hang out, you can lurk, you can come hang out in Discord. You don't have to be on our server, it doesn't matter. All the information and more is in the description if you guys want to get involved in this community. But I appreciate you guys being here today. Thanks for your time. Hopefully you enjoyed. Hopefully I'll see you next time. But until then, take care.